opportunities.
Uh-huh.
What happened? Where'd they go?
Well, SC, we dropped 2 picks, had the ball on the ground and didn't get it, so opportunities have still been there. We got to go get them, and then same thing at Utah. We dropped a couple, interceptions that we could have had. So I think it's the ball's in play. We got to go get it. I think that's what we were doing in the first couple weeks, and we just got to make the play on the ball.
I assume that's been a big emphasis this week in practice.
There's no emphasis. Right? It's about, again, fundamentals, teaching, and then balls in. Right when that ball presents itself, we got to continue to teach those fundamentals of going up, high pointing it, getting the football. Yeah.
Sione Lolohea has been playing quite a bit more. What does he add to your defense?
He's just athletic, motor. Like he just goes 100 miles an hour all the time, and then he's just a twitchy, like big athlete. And so he's been disruptive both in the run game and pass game. So he's doing well, getting better every week.
This offense that Stanford runs is a little bit different than what he normally. But what are the challenges defending that?
They hold that slow mesh point. They're holding the ball. The quarterback keeps his eyes downfield. He's reading the guy. If that guy bites on the run, he's throwing the ball. So it's about really discipline and who's taking away this, who's taking away that, and making sure that every guy's on point.
The second half at Utah, what was different in the second half than in the first half defensively?
I think it just, towards the end of the game, they just made some plays that we didn't make. I think that's the biggest thing. They got us on the reverse. They got some linemen out, and we didn't get linemen out. That they had a couple plays that we weren't on point with. They hit us on a couple digs that we'd been great in the first half, and so it's really back to just the fundamentals, because it wasn't anything that they did. It was the fundamentals of how we played. So we got to make sure that we tighten those up.
When you look at McKee individually, what does he bring that you've got to be aware of?
Well, he's just a smart, intelligent. He's a good quarterback. Like he knows where to go with the ball. He knows the offense. He does a good job holding that read. So we got to do a great job of doing our work.
Do you think the pass rush is where you want it? I think 1 sack of Caleb Williams. I think 1 sack of Rising this past week. Looking at it on tape, do you still think you guys did a good job pressuring the quarterback?
We can always improve. I think SC we did. We had him on the run. He's just hard to tackle. But last week there wasn't enough pressure in just normal downs. We need to continue to generate more. Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard a coach say we're where we want to be.
Yeah.
But is there anything on defense you're doing that you feel like you're close to what you want to be doing?
Yeah, I think in general we're close. I think the last 2 opponents we played are the best, not only in this conference but in the country. And we played, SC obviously we played right with them the whole game, and then against Utah for the first half we were getting 3 and outs. We were getting them off the field, and we know we can play with anyone we go against. So I'm happy about that. And then it's going to come back to, again, continue execution as the game goes on and the season goes on. It's not losing those fundamentals of how I execute and how I do my job.
Obviously, it seems like these last 2, you guys have really, kept the team into the game. What's the sense of urgency, going into this one, saying, hey, we got to step it up a little bit even more just to be able to bounce back from this?
I think the biggest thing we got to do is there's going to be adversity throughout the week. That was the one thing probably from last week I didn't think we handled as well as we had in the previous games, is adversity. They had a couple short fields. We got to find a way to keep them out of the end zone. That's the big thing. So I think we can handle adversity better, because it's inevitable. It's going to come at some point. And so we got to be able to go out there and hold the offense to 3 or no points. That's the big thing for us.
The lack of takeaways lately, and I know that's something that the back end is more responsible for than you guys, but you got to put the pressure on the quarterback. Do you feel like you're not quite getting enough pressure on the quarterback to force those takeaways the last few games?
I wouldn't say it's a lack of pressure. I just think that just how the games have progressed, and the ball's coming out pretty fast in a lot of these instances. So I think that there are pressures that have worked really well, and so we're just going to focus on those and just keep trying our best to get after the quarterback. So.
From your position, what is the challenge this week playing that style of offense that Stanford has versus other offenses you play?
I think that we got to be very gap sound. We have to make sure that we contain quarterback and be able to adjust to their new style of offense that they're running this year. It's pretty unique. So it's just being disciplined in our responsibilities, like for the outside linebackers, our gaps, and then our coverage as well. So,
but more than other teams you play. You mentioned the gaps and the discipline, all that. I mean, you got to be that against everybody.
Yeah,
probably.
absolutely.
But is there something a little different that maybe you're not running at the quarterback as hard as before because of things that they might do on the edges? Or?
It's some of their plays are a little bit slower how they develop, so it's important that for us, we stay in our gaps, like I said, like where we're supposed to be instead of. But that's not to say not having like a attack mentality of getting after the quarterback. It's just making sure that we're in our right fits, and then the rest will take care of itself. So.
Was there any level of frustration on Saturday? You guys had a bunch of short fields, but Utah was still able to convert those into touchdowns. You guys feel like maybe you should have got them off the field and you had the opportunity to do so?
Yeah, I think it was frustrating. I think it's frustrating anytime a game turns out like that. I think what I overheard Coach Bray say, like, adversity happens, and I think that we've been taught, and we're trying to really reflect on this year, like responding rather than reacting. And sometimes I think that if we react with frustration, it just leads to more chaos. So I think that even in the adversity, it was important for us to keep our composure. And so yeah, it's frustrating, but definitely I think we maintained our composure and dealt with that loss.
What's the attitude and the energy like in the locker room, on the practice field this week? Bouncing back after a couple of tough weeks.
Yeah, just like you said, I think it's about bouncing back and responding rather than reacting to a couple tough losses. I think that the energy has been awesome. We're really focused on us, versus us, how we can improve and how we can respond rather than the current situation of where we're at. And it's we're still in a great position and everything's in front of us, so that's what we're focused on.
So,
not looking back.
So is composure the number one thing to handling adversity?
I think that's a deep question in life and in football. I think that just kind of washing the last play away, playing the next play, keeping composure, not letting emotions get too high. We want to stay a nice constant medium of having a good fight but not getting it out of hand. That was a big question. I don't know.
So you seem to be playing quite a bit more lately. What's clicked for you?
I think it's just. What do you mean? What's
Well, I mean, obviously they think you're ready for the moment. What do you feel like you've been able to?
I've always been ready, and last year there was a couple guys was in front of me, but just being second string last year was allowed me to work on my technique, get better in the weight room, and get stronger. So when they call me up, I'm ready. So,
The second half of Utah, do you guys get frustrated that you're holding them, and then all of a sudden, they're kind of getting what they want?
I mean, it was a lot going on, and I think we just need to stay together and communicate is the key. So, and I think getting to know that your job is the most important thing when you're on the field. So we need to get better at that. So, yeah.
Pass rush wise, after these last 2 weeks, two of your toughest, quarterbacks you're going to face to try and get on the ground. Overall, how did you think you guys did in handling it?
For Utah?
Or just the last 2 weeks?
It was kind of hard at first, but we're able to work together on it. So I think we'll be ready for this week.
What's the last 2 weeks, you guys have really, the defensive end has really kept you guys into the game. Do you feel like you guys are just almost like one play away from being able to change the outcome of those games?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard, and I think it's different for everybody. But for me, I need to. There's a lot I need to work. Still working on the rushing the edge, and just yeah.
Is there more of a sense of urgency now after losing those two?
I mean, losing the last couple weeks is just makes me more. I guess it makes the whole defense more hungry to work on things that we need to get done and just be better for the next game.